What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys a review of Leprechaun Returns. Brand new from the year 2018, just dropped today on Amazon, where you could rent it. You could also rent it in other outlets as well. Leprechaun Returns is a direct follow-up to the 1993 Leprechaun film starring Jennifer Aniston. Now, as you guys know, I'm a pretty big Leprechaun fan. It's one of my favorite franchises. In fact, I like all the films in the series, including Origins. Now, I don't think Origins is great, and it surely isn't a Leprechaun film. That's the biggest knock on it, but I enjoyed it for a creature feature. But after the release of Origins, it one, failed, and two, failed to capture the excitement of the people who like these movies because it was completely different. I expected that the Leprechaun series might in fact be dead. And it wasn't until, I believe, last March when Sci-Fi was airing their annual Leprechaun marathon that they did a little teaser trailer for a new Leprechaun returning to its roots, and we actually got it a little bit earlier than expected here on VOD here in January, not March. I was expecting to get it in March, but I was really excited to check this out. I knew that Warwick Davis was not returning as the Leprechaun, but I was okay with that. He did come out and say that he didn't feel like those type of movies were right for him at this stage in his life. He has like a family and kids now, and he doesn't really feel like doing horror, but it is a little bit disappointing. So they got a new guy to play the Leprechaun. His name is Lyndon Porco, and this guy, I don't really know much about him. He wasn't in a ton of things. I think he was like a stunt double in the latest Chucky film, Cult of Chucky, but that's about all I know of him. The film was directed by Steven Kostanski of The Void fame, which was a pretty popular film from last year, made a lot of people's top 10 lists at the end of the year. And it was written by Suzanne Kiley, who I'm not really too familiar with. I'm not familiar with any of her credits. But yeah, this film was produced for the Sci-Fi Channel and will air on the Sci-Fi Channel later this year. But Lionsgate also back this film and release it on VOD. Not quite sure about a DVD release yet. The film stars a lot of new faces, but has a solid cameo that really helps bond the original film and this film together, sort of bridge that gap a little bit. Mark Holton, who played Ozzy in the original 1993 classic, and it was fantastic seeing him back. The film follows a group of sorority sisters who are fixing up a house for some kind of project or something, and they're trying to go green and be off the grid and lose technology, stuff like that. But this house just so happens to be the original O'Grady farmhouse from the original film, with Jennifer Aniston, and you know, her family bought the house. Her father bought the house. Tori Redding, I believe, in the original film. Well, this is the same house. There was a college built semi nearby, and essentially these sorority sisters move into this house, trying to fix it up. Meanwhile, the Leprechaun has been condemned to the well in which he was killed in the first film for the last 25 years, and it is a sequel, a direct sequel to the original Leprechaun film. It ignores all the other sequels that came after, which necessarily weren't really sequels, because those films were sort of in-name only sequels. There's a lot of continuity issues with them, which is one of the fun things about the Leprechaun series, but it's refreshing to get a direct sequel. It's really cool. So right away, I gotta say, I am a huge fan of how this director, Steven, took the series back to its roots. I love that they're making a sequel to the original film, and just ignoring what happened with Origins. And really, I mean, this is the Leprechaun that we know and love. It's not Warwick Davis, but it is that Leprechaun. You know, you can feel the familiarity with this style of Leprechaun. So I was okay. If Warwick Davis doesn't want to come back, I'm okay with trying somebody new. Now this new actor who's playing the Leprechaun, I'm not absolutely crazy about him. I think that his performance is good. I think that the practical effects of his makeup are good. I just think that the biggest knock on him is his voice. The voice just doesn't sound reminiscent of Warwick Davis's voice in the original series of Leprechaun films. It's almost a little too high-pitched for me and not evil or demonic enough. It's a small complaint, but it is something that I noticed, and although it didn't kill the film for me, it definitely could have been a lot better had his voice been a little bit deeper, I would say. So that was one of my biggest issues, I guess, with the film. Other than that, it's a good Leprechaun film. It has a lot of cool stuff. This plot is a little bit contrived, especially when you find out that the lead actress is actually related to Tori Redding from the first film, Jennifer Aniston's character. For all of this to sort of culminate, it's a little bit contrived, but I don't really care, honestly. I accepted it right away. I was like, sure, whatever, you know. This is how we're bringing it all back. Could it have possibly been done a little bit better? Maybe, but at the same time, it really didn't. It really is not necessary to the film. The other big thing that I think is great about this film is it's mostly all practicals. From one, the look of the Leprechaun is really good. I think it has like a sort of reddish tint to him this time, which is kind of interesting. I kind of like that a little bit. It added something new to the look of the Leprechaun, and I dug it. The rest of him looks great. You know, the suit, the wrinkles, everything's good with the actual prosthetics of the Leprechaun. A lot of practicals in this one. There's barely any CGI at all. There's a little bit of CGI at the beginning, some CGI sprinkled in throughout to kind of complement the practical effects, and they used a little bit of CGI in spots. You know, there's a scene where there's these mini leprechauns, a little bit there, but they also used practicals there. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw a like leprechaun practical doll in one shot. Not 100% sure, but I really appreciate that. I mean, fans, you know, horror fans in general, we love practical effects. Like, just give us what we love. If it costs a lot of the budget, we're always gonna appreciate the practicals over the CGI. Like, you know, it's worth the risk of not being able to do certain things in the film because you had to put more money towards practicals, because that is important to us. We will always give a pass on bad practicals over bad CGI. It always seems to be the case. So I love the continuity in the series. Like, I love the little nods to the first film. There's a shot where you first see Ozzy driving in the car, and you could see some practical makeup effect on one of his ears. Of course, we know what that is. The way they bring the Leprechaun back was a little bit ridiculous and like, okay, whatever. But, you know, it was fine. You know, honestly, I could have even used some more nods from the original film. Nobody mentioned the O'Grady's or anything like that, which would have been cool. The gold really looked, I know this is a small complaint, but the gold looked really weak in this one. It looked like plastic, and it had these like little leprechaun things on it. I would have just rather preferred, you know, plain looking gold coins versus those. They looked a little too fake, honestly. But that's not a huge complaint. I love the farmhouse. Like, they did a good job at making it look like the original farmhouse. Pretty cool. Whether there would be a group of sorority girls way out here, you know, creating a sorority house, I don't know. Probably not. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. I thought that, honestly, I loved this movie. I loved the fact that I got a new Leprechaun film in 2018, and I read an article on Bloody Disgusting about other Leprechaun films that could have happened, and funny enough, all of which I knew of at one point or another, and they had mentioned that, you know, besides Origins, there hasn't been a true Leprechaun film since like 2002. And that was shocking to me, which I think 2003, 2001, somewhere around there was Leprechaun Back to the Hood. And that really surprised me. I was like, wow, it's been that long since we've had a Leprechaun film. And that was very eye-opening because I love this series, and this film right here I'm so excited for. I'm so excited to see where the series can go. I hope that they continue to make them. Believe it or not, I enjoyed this film more than the new Halloween that came out this year. Both of them very similar in sequel type of films. You know, they're both following the original, ignoring the sequels. And I liked Leprechaun more than Halloween. This is the more entertaining sequel to me, which is pretty crazy. But Leprechaun Returns, pretty cool. Very excited to see where the series goes. I hope they make a new one like every year, similar to where the Puppet Master series went with this sort of soft reboot here. I'm hoping that that both those series continue on here in the future. I wouldn't mind seeing a prequel, honestly. Like, that Old West setting still sounds great to me. That would be fun. That would be fun. You know, that was one of the films that they talked about doing. But I'm cool with keeping the same actor if Warwick Davis doesn't want to come back for any sequels. But let's do them, man. Let's make them. If you're watching this video and you like the Leprechaun series, or if you're just kind of okay on it, go ahead and rent this film. You know, support it. If it does well, we know we'll get a sequel, and that's what we want. I want to continue getting these films. I like the little. There was even a little nod to part 2, I think, with the iron that they talk about in this film. But I love all the Leprechaun films. You know, the original 6, you know, they're so fun. But hopefully we see some more with these, man. I really want to. So anyway, that is my review on Leprechaun Returns 2018. I'm giving it a solid 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed Leprechaun Returns. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Peace.